The sky did not split like thunder. It split like a mistake. One moment, the air above the bright Vought stage was normal. Blue sky, soft clouds, cameras on cranes, a giant screen playing a smiling hero montage, people cheering because they were told to cheer. The next moment, a thin red line appeared in the air. It looked like someone drew it with a burning thread. It trembled. It widened. Wanda Maximoff fell through it. For half a second, she did not breathe. Her body remembered another fall, another scream, another loss. Her mind flashed with a face she loved and a life she tried to build. Then she hit the street. Concrete cracked under her back. A shock wave rolled out in a circle. It knocked over metal barriers. It sent confetti spinning like snow. A few phones flew from hands and clattered on the ground. Wanda rolled to her side and pushed up, one hand against the street. She blinked hard. Her ears rang. Her eyes were red-rimmed, like she had not slept in days. She looked around. This wasn't Westview. This was not Sokovia. This wasn't any place she knew. It was loud. It was bright. It smelled like hot dogs, perfume, and gasoline. There were billboards with heroes smiling like movie stars. There were armed guards with matching uniforms. There were people screaming and filming at the same time. Wanda's chest tightened. She felt something else too. Fear. Not just from the crowd, from the guards, from the people on the stage, from the ones with earpieces who kept talking into their sleeves. Fear that came from being trained to fear. A small drone flew close to her face, hovering like a bug with a camera eye. It buzzed loudly. It tilted down, trying to get the perfect shot. Wanda's head turned slowly. Her eyes locked on it. She did not throw it away. She did not blast it. She simply lifted 2 fingers. The drone stopped in midair. Its buzzing died. The metal softened, like it forgot it was metal. In a blink, it folded into flat white paper, as neat as a printed form. It drifted down and landed on the cracked street. Wanda stared at it, confused by her own calm. A man in a suit shouted from behind the guards, voice shaking through a handheld mic. "Ma'am, please remain where you are, for your safety." For your safety. She almost laughed. A guard raised a rifle. Others followed. Red dots trembled on her chest and shoulders. Wanda's eyes narrowed. Her hand lifted again, palm open. Every gun in the line jerked upward, like the guards had all sneezed at once. Fingers lost their grip. Rifles flew out of hands and clattered onto the pavement in a messy pile. The guards stumbled back, wide-eyed. One of them whispered, "What the—" "Stop!" Wanda said. Her voice was not loud, but it cut through the noise. The guards froze. Not like they chose to freeze, like their bodies were turned off. Their eyes moved, their mouths opened, but their arms stayed locked at their sides. Their legs held them up like statues. Wanda turned her head again, scanning faces. She was looking for a threat, looking for someone who felt like the reason she was here. She found only strangers. A child cried somewhere to her left. Wanda's stomach dropped. The sound hit her like a punch because it reminded her of another child's voice that she could not reach. She took one step forward, careful, slow, as if she was walking on thin ice. That was when the shadows shifted. A figure descended from above, as smooth as a stage entrance. A cape fluttered, bright and perfect. Boots touched down without a sound. The man smiled at the cameras first, then at the crowd, then at her. Homelander. Up close, his eyes were too clean, too empty. The smile was practiced, like it was part of a uniform. Wanda felt something in the crowd change. The fear around her twisted into worship. People stopped running. They lifted phones higher. Some even cheered, like everything was okay now. Homelander opened his arms, as if he was welcoming a guest. "Well," he said, voice warm, friendly, made for TV. "This is new. Wanda's gaze did not leave his face. She felt his power in a blunt way. Strong body. Fast. Dangerous. But there was something else, too. Something weak inside it. A crack under the paint. She could feel it. A tight knot of need. Homelander took a slow step forward, keeping his smile. You picked a big day to drop in. We're doing a little unity thing. You know, showing the people they're safe. Wanda's fingers flexed. Red energy flickered around them like heat above a stove. I don't know where I am, she said. Homelander's smile did not move. You're in America. And you are, Wanda asked. He pointed at himself, like the question was a joke. I'm me. The crowd laughed nervously. Wanda's eyes narrowed again. She could hear the lie hidden inside the performance. Not a single word he said was for her. It was for the cameras. Wanda's voice turned quiet. Don't lie to me. Homelander's smile twitched. Just for a blink, the mask slipped. And in that blink, the people closest to him felt it. The air went colder. The guards swallowed hard. Homelander's eyes flicked to the cracked street, to the frozen guards, to the paper drone on the ground. Then back to Wanda. Okay, he said softly, still smiling, but the warmth was gone now. We'll do this the easy way. Wanda's red energy grew brighter around her hands. Above them, the thin red crack in the sky trembled again, like it was listening. And for the first time since she arrived, Wanda felt something answer, back from beyond the crack. Something that was not human. Something that noticed her. Ashley Barrett's hand shook so hard she almost dropped her tablet. Tell me we have a plan, she hissed into her headset. Her voice sounded calm, only because she had years of practice sounding calm. On her screen, live feeds showed the same thing from 12 angles. A woman with dark hair and tired eyes, standing in the middle of the street like she owned it. Homelander in front of her, smiling like he was in a photo shoot. Ashley's mind raced. She didn't see a woman. She saw a headline, a stock drop, a lawsuit, a mass panic, a new product line if they survived it. Get her inside, Ashley said. Get her away from the crowd. Now. I don't care if we have to roll out a red carpet and sing to her. A voice in her ear, panicked. She turned a drone into paper. I saw that, Ashley snapped. I have eyes. Another voice cut in, colder. Do not threaten her. Ashley froze. She recognized that voice, even though she hadn't heard it in months. Stan Edgar. He sounded like he was in a quiet room, sipping something expensive, while the world caught fire. Ashley swallowed. We can't not threaten her. Homelander is right there. That is why you do not threaten her, Edgar said. Homelander threatens everyone by breathing. He will make this worse. Ashley stared at the screen. Homelander leaned closer to the woman, still smiling. Then the woman's hand lifted. The streetlights along the block flickered. Not from power failure, from reality being told to blink. Homelander stopped moving for a second. Not because he chose to, because he couldn't. Ashley's mouth went dry. She restrained him, Edgar said, like he was stating the weather. Ashley almost screamed. Nobody restrains him. Edgar's voice stayed flat. Then she is our highest priority. Ashley looked at the Vought legal team huddled behind her. They were already holding folders like shields. Get the paperwork ready, Ashley said, voice trembling. All of it. NDAs, consent forms, medical forms, hero registration. Everything. A lawyer raised a hand weakly. What name do we put at the top? Ashley's eyes darted back to the screen. The woman's face looked like grief had carved it out of stone. We'll give her one, Ashley said, desperate to sound in control. Something simple, something marketable, something red. Edgar spoke again. You will not give her anything. Ashley flinched. We have to call her something. Edgar paused. Call her Mom and keep her alive. Ashley swallowed. Yes, sir. On the screen, Homelander started moving again, faster now, anger behind the smile. The woman's red energy swelled, not wild, but focused. Ashley watched, heart pounding. Then Homelander did something that made Ashley's stomach twist. He turned slightly, just enough that the cameras caught his best side, and he reached out like he was going to touch the woman's shoulder, like he owned her. Ashley whispered, Please don't. The woman's head snapped toward his hand, and the air around them tightened, like the world was holding its breath. Homelander had been loved by crowds his whole life, but love was never enough. Not the way he needed it. He needed control. He needed everyone to know he was the biggest thing in the room. Now, standing in front of this woman, he felt something he hated. Uncertainty. It wasn't fear like a normal person felt fear. It was a sharp irritation, like a stain on his cape, a mistake on his perfect day. He studied her face. He could see the pain in it. That meant she could be pushed. That meant she could be broken. He kept his smile. The cameras liked his smile. You're confused, he said gently, like he was talking to a lost tourist. It's okay. Vought will help you. We help people. Her eyes didn't soften. They didn't move away. They pinned him. Who are you really? She asked. Homelander's smile tightened. I'm a hero. She tilted her head slightly, like she was listening to something he couldn't hear. Homelander felt it then, a pressure behind his eyes, like someone's fingers were reaching into his skull without touching him. He didn't like that. His gaze flicked to the crowd. Thousands of phones pointed at them. He could hear their breaths, hear their heartbeats, hear their whispers. He could also hear the guards behind him shaking. They were terrified of her. That was unacceptable. Homelander leaned in closer, lowering his voice so only she would hear. You can do tricks. That's cute. But don't embarrass me in front of my people. Her red energy flickered brighter. Her lips parted as if she wanted to say something. Then she stopped. She looked past him. Homelander followed her gaze. A little girl stood behind the barrier, frozen, holding a small Vought flag with shaking hands. Her mother tried to pull her back, but the child wouldn't move. She stared at the woman with wide eyes, like she was seeing a ghost. Homelander felt an idea click into place. He smiled wider. He stepped toward the barrier and scooped the girl up like it was part of the show. The mother screamed. Security moved, but Homelander's look stopped them. Homelander held the girl on his hip and turned so the cameras got a good shot. Hey, he said kindly, you're okay. See? I've got you. The girl sobbed, confused and terrified. Homelander's eyes flicked back to the woman. You see? People love a hero. The woman's expression changed, not into rage, into something worse. Her face went calm. Her eyes looked older, harder. Put her down, she said. Homelander's smile stayed in place, but his grip tightened just a little. Not enough to hurt, enough to show who decided. Or what? He asked softly. The woman raised one hand. The entire block went silent. Not quiet like a crowd calms down. Silent like sound itself was removed. No wind, no crying, no phones ringing, no helicopter blades. Even Homelander's cape stopped fluttering. Homelander's eyes widened. For a split second, he felt small. He hated it. In the silence, the woman's voice still reached him. It was clear, direct, like it didn't need air. Put her down, she repeated. Now. Homelander swallowed. He lowered the girl to the ground, slow, like he was choosing to be nice. The moment the girl's shoes touched the street, sound returned like a wave. Screams flooded back. People ran. Phones captured everything. Homelander's face hardened. His eyes flared red. "You don't do that to me," he said, voice low, dangerous. The woman's red energy rose around her like a storm held in a fist, and in the sky above, the red crack pulsed brighter, like it was excited. Butcher watched the footage on a cracked tablet in a filthy safehouse kitchen. He didn't blink. He didn't breathe much either. He just stared as the woman made sound disappear. As Homelander's heat vision died against invisible red force, as the biggest monster in their world hesitated, Huey stood behind him, hugging his own arms. She stopped him, Huey whispered. Butcher's mouth twisted into something close to a smile, but it had no joy in it. She didn't stop him, he said. She reminded him he can be stopped. Mother's Milk leaned against the counter, face tense. Or she reminded him he needs to kill her. Frenchie's eyes were wide, almost excited. "This is not Compound 5, he murmured. "This is something else." Kimiko watched silently, hands flexing like she wanted to fight the screen. Starlight stood in the corner, hood up, trying not to show how shaken she was. She had fought Homelander before. She knew what it felt like to be nothing next to him. Now she had just watched someone make him blink. "She looked scared," Starlight said. Butcher snorted. "Everyone looks scared on camera, love." "No," Starlight snapped. "Not scared of him. Scared of herself." That made Butcher finally turn his head. His eyes were sharp, cold. "You getting soft again?" Starlight took a step forward. "I'm being real. If Vought gets her first, they'll turn her into another Homelander. Or worse." Butcher leaned back in his chair. "Good." Huey stared at him. "What do you mean, good?" Butcher tapped the screen where the woman stood, red light in her hands. "That's a weapon. The kind we don't get offered twice." MM's voice stayed steady. "She's a person." Butcher's eyes didn't move. "So is a bomb, mate. Doesn't mean it won't blow your legs off." Starlight's jaw clenched. "We don't even know her name." Butcher shrugged. "We'll call her whatever she wants after she turns that flying psycho into ash." Frenchie spoke softly, like he was trying not to scare an animal. "If she can do what she did there, killing may not be her first choice." Butcher's face hardened. "Everyone's got a first choice until the world kicks them in the teeth." On the tablet, the footage froze on one frame, Homelander's perfect smile cracking. Butcher pointed at it. "That's it. That's the moment. That's the crack." Huey swallowed. "So what do we do?" Butcher's answer came fast. "We get to her before they put a logo on her forehead." Wanda woke up in a room that was too clean. The bed was soft. The lights were warm. The walls were white and smooth, with no windows. The air smelled like nothing at all. A camera sat in the corner, like an insect that didn't blink. Wanda sat up slowly. Her head hurt. Her body felt heavy. Not weak, just tired. She could feel the building around her. Thick layers of metal, reinforced walls, hidden wiring, many rooms, many people, and fear. The fear was everywhere, like a stain in the air. The door opened with a quiet hiss. A woman walked in with perfect hair and nervous eyes. She wore a suit that looked expensive, but she held her hands like she expected to be punished. "Hi," the woman said too brightly. "I'm Ashley Barrett. I'm with Vought. We're here to help." Wanda stared at her. Ashley's smile wobbled. "How are you feeling?" Wanda did not answer. Ashley cleared her throat and stepped forward with a folder held like an offering. "We have some forms, just basic stuff. Consent, health, and safety. You know, normal." Wanda looked down at the folder. On the cover was a printed title in bold, "New Hero Onboarding Packet." Wanda's eyes narrowed. Ashley hurried. It's standard. For everyone, even Homelander did it. Wanda's gaze snapped up. Homelander, she repeated. Ashley nodded fast. Yes, he's our leader. He's the best of us. He wants to meet you again when you're ready. Wanda felt that name like a weight. She remembered his smile, his eyes, the way he used a child like a prop. Wanda's fingers tightened around the edge of the folder. You don't help people, Wanda said quietly. Ashley blinked. We do. We save them all the time. We have footage. We have... Wanda raised her eyes and looked straight at Ashley. Ashley's mouth shut. Wanda could feel Ashley's thoughts like loud whispers. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. Behind that was something darker. If she kills me, maybe Homelander won't kill me first. Wanda's expression softened for a moment, not from kindness, but from understanding. You're afraid, Wanda said. Ashley laughed a weak laugh. No, I'm not. Wanda didn't move. Don't lie to me. Ashley's face went pale. She lowered the folder onto the bed with shaking hands. Okay, she whispered. Yes, I'm afraid. Everyone is. Wanda stared at the folder again. She touched the top page. Red energy sparked under her fingertips, small and controlled. The ink on the page shifted. Letters rearranged. Lines moved. The bold title faded. When Wanda lifted her hand, the first page now read, I am not your product. Ashley's eyes went wide. Oh my God. Wanda flipped the next page. It changed too. I am not your product. The next, I am not your product. Ashley stepped back as if the words might bite her. That's not legal. Wanda looked at her. Good. Ashley swallowed hard. We just want to understand you. Wanda's gaze drifted toward the camera in the corner. No, she said. You want to own me. Ashley's eyes flicked to the camera. Her shoulders hunched. She didn't deny it. A new voice came from a speaker in the wall, smooth and controlled. Miss, it said, we would like to speak with you. Wanda's head turned slightly. Who is that? My name is Stan Edgar, the voice said. Wanda felt him behind the voice. Not in the room, but near. He wasn't afraid in the same way as the others. His mind was colder. Organized. Ashley, the voice continued. Please leave us. Ashley's eyes filled with relief. Yes, thank you. Yes. She backed out fast, almost tripping over her heels. The door sealed again. Wanda sat still, listening. Edgar spoke calmly. You are not in danger here. Wanda's mouth tightened. That is a lie. A pause. You are correct, Edgar said. You are not in danger from us. You are in danger from him. Homelander, Wanda said. Yes, Edgar replied. He is possessive, but he can be managed. Wanda's eyes hardened. People are not pets. Edgar's voice did not change. In this world, people are bought and sold every day. You have stepped into a system. Systems respond to power. Wanda breathed in slowly. Then your system is sick. Edgar's tone stayed flat. Perhaps, but it is the system you are in. Wanda glanced at the camera again. Why am I here? To learn, Edgar said. To understand what you are. To ensure you do not harm millions. Wanda's jaw tightened. I don't want to harm anyone. Another pause. Wanting is not always enough, Edgar said. Wanda's eyes flickered. He had touched something real, something she hated in herself. She remembered a town full of smiling faces that weren't really smiling. She remembered how easy it was to tell herself she was doing good. Wanda's voice dropped. I am not doing that again. Edgar's voice softened by a fraction, like a man pretending to be kind. Then we are aligned. Wanda looked at the blank wall. Send Homelander away. Edgar chuckled once, small and humorless. That is not a request I can fulfill. Wanda's fingers curled. Red energy flickered again. The camera in the corner twisted slightly, trying to track her. Wanda felt the building press around her, like it was holding its breath. Somewhere far above, the red crack in the sky was still there. She couldn't see it, but she could feel it like a splinter under skin. And beneath that feeling, deeper, there was something else. A faint pull, like a door that had been opened just a little. In a different part of the tower, Sister Sage sat with her legs crossed, watching the same live feeds and medical readouts. Her eyes moved fast. Not because she was excited, because she was collecting patterns. Homelander paced behind her like an angry lion. "She made me stop," he said through clenched teeth. Sage didn't look up. "She stopped sound, too." "I don't care about sound," Homelander snapped. "She embarrassed me." Sage's voice stayed calm. "That is why you must not rush her." Homelander leaned in close, trying to force her to flinch. She didn't. "You're supposed to help me," he growled. "I am," Sage said, "by keeping you from making a stupid choice." Homelander's eyes flashed red. "Say that again." Sage finally looked at him. Her gaze was steady. "If you attack her in the wrong place, on the wrong day, you will lose control of the story. The people don't need you to be strongest. They need you to be right." Homelander's mouth tightened. "I'm always right." Sage nodded like she was agreeing with a child. "Then we make her wrong." Homelander blinked. "How?" Sage tapped the screen where Wanda sat in the white room. "She has rules. She's trying to hold herself back." Homelander snorted. "So?" Sage's eyes stayed on Wanda. "So we don't fight her strength. We fight her control." Homelander's face twisted, interested now. "Meaning?" Sage leaned back. "We create a situation where she must choose. Save people and look like a monster on camera, or protect herself and look like a monster on camera. Either way, the world turns on her. Then she has nowhere to stand except behind you." Homelander smiled slowly. "That's good." Sage's voice stayed flat. "And you do not touch children again." Homelander's smile faded. "Excuse me?" Sage didn't blink. "You used a child as a prop. It worked once. If you do it again on a day when the cameras are already hungry and she reacts badly, you will look weak. And you hate looking weak." Homelander's jaw tightened. Sage added, "I am giving you what you want. A path where you win without risking your life." Homelander stared at her for a long moment. Then he turned away, cape swishing. "Set it up," he said. Sage nodded. As Homelander walked out, Sage's eyes returned to the screen. Wanda's heart rate was steady, too steady for someone in a cage. Sage's lips pressed together. "Interesting," she murmured. That night, Wanda lay on the bed and stared at the white ceiling. She tried to sleep. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the red crack. She felt it in her bones, like the world here was stretched thin. She breathed in slowly and reached out with her senses, not with her eyes, with the part of her that could touch minds, feel pain, hear truth. She felt thousands of people in the city below, dreaming, crying, laughing, lying. She felt a man in a lab coat nearby shaking so hard he could barely hold his pen. She felt Ashley in a bathroom, vomiting from stress. She felt Homelander above, moving like a shark in a glass tank, angry, hungry. And she felt something else, a whisper, not a voice with words. A pressure, a pull toward the crack. It was faint. It was far. But it was there. Wanda sat up and pressed her palms to her eyes. She thought of two small boys, two voices calling her Mom. Her throat tightened. No, she whispered to the empty room. "Not like this." A soft chime sounded. A small panel on the wall slid open. A tray rolled out with water, a bowl of fruit, and, right on top, another folder, another set of forms. Wanda stared at it. She didn't laugh, but something tired and bitter moved through her chest, almost like humor. Even here, even now, they couldn't stop trying. Wanda touched the folder. The cover changed at once. "I am not your product." Then the pen beside it snapped clean in half without her touching it. Wanda leaned back against the headboard and closed her eyes again. And somewhere in the dark, beyond the tower, beyond the city, beyond the crack itself, something listened. The next day, they moved her. They told her it was for fresh air. They told her it was for comfort. They told her it was for public reassurance. Wanda knew what it was. A stage. She sat in the back of a black armored van, hands resting on her lap, eyes on the tiny window covered in wire mesh. 2 guards sat across from her, stiff as boards. They tried not to look at her. Wanda could hear their thoughts anyway. "Don't think about her. Don't think about her. Just get home." She didn't want to scare them. She didn't even want to be here. But she also didn't want to be trapped forever. The van stopped. Outside, noise rose like a wall. Chanting, music, a crowd. A voice boomed through speakers. "Vought stands for safety." Wanda's stomach tightened. The door opened. Bright light poured in. Wanda stepped out into a packed plaza surrounded by screens and banners. A giant Vought logo hung above a stage like a crown. "A unity rally," the banners read. People waved flags. Cameras turned. Drones hovered. Homelander floated above the stage, smiling like nothing had happened yesterday. Beside him stood Firecracker, waving dramatically, soaking in attention. Sister Sage stood behind them, still watching everything. Wanda felt her skin crawl. Ashley rushed over, voice pitched too high. "Hi, okay, so quick thing. We're just going to have you stand there and smile. No pressure. Just be calm." Wanda stared at her. "Why?" Ashley swallowed. "People are scared." Wanda looked out at the crowd. She could feel it. Fear hiding under excitement. People loved heroes the way people loved a show. Wanda said quietly, "Then you should stop lying to them." Ashley flinched like she'd been slapped. "We're not lying. We're managing." Wanda turned away from Ashley and looked up at Homelander. He lowered down, landing near her with that same perfect posture. "Hey," he said, voice warm again. "Feeling better?" Wanda didn't answer. Homelander smiled wider anyway, turning slightly so the cameras caught them together. "Listen, you didn't introduce yourself yesterday. That's okay. First days are weird." He leaned in. "But we do need a name. People like names." Wanda's voice was flat. "I have a name." Homelander's eyes narrowed just a little. "Great. Tell us." Wanda stared at him. Part of her wanted to say it. Wanda Maximoff, to claim herself. Another part of her knew names were hooks in this world. Labels. Products. She looked past Homelander at Sister Sage. Sage met her gaze with calm interest, like Wanda was a puzzle. Wanda turned back to Homelander. "No." Homelander's smile froze. Then he chuckled into the mic. "She's shy," he told the crowd, friendly. The crowd laughed, relieved. Homelander's eyes stayed on Wanda. His voice lowered. "You don't get to say no to me on stage." Wanda felt the urge to push him away like a fly. She held it back. Because the crowd was real. The people were real, even if the show was fake. Homelander lifted his arms to the crowd. "But don't worry, we're going to take care of her, and she's going to take care of you." Wanda's head snapped toward him. He was promising things with her name, without her consent, like she wasn't a person. Wanda's hands tightened. Red energy sparked along her fingers. Sister Sage's eyes flicked to a screen at the edge of the plaza. A timer ticked down. Wanda didn't see the timer, but she felt something change. A ripple of panic moved through the crowd. Then the attack started. A truck burst through a barrier, driving too fast. Men with guns jumped out, firing into the air. People screamed and scattered. On the screens, a symbol flashed. A fake group name. A fake cause. It was all too clean, too perfect. Wanda's eyes narrowed. This was staged. She could feel the fear from the gunman. It wasn't real fear of dying. It was fear of messing up a job. Homelander turned toward the cameras instantly, ready to save the day. Firecracker screamed dramatically, pointing at the terrorists like she was acting in a play. Sage didn't move. She watched Wanda. Wanda's body moved before her thoughts caught up. She lifted both hands. Bullets froze in the air. They hung like tiny metal dots, spinning slowly. The gunman stared, shocked. Wanda's fingers curled. The bullets crumpled into small, flat pieces, like someone stepping on foil. They dropped harmlessly to the ground. The crowd's screams shifted into confused silence. Homelander's head turned sharply. For a moment, he looked annoyed that she had stolen the scene. Then he smiled again, stepping forward. "See?" he announced into the mic. "She's with us!" Wanda's eyes flashed with anger. Behind the first gunman, something bigger moved. A second wave. A soup stepped out from behind the truck, clearly pumped with Compound V. His skin was thick like stone. His arms were too big. His eyes were wild. He roared and charged into the crowd. That part wasn't staged for safety. That part was staged for chaos. Wanda's stomach dropped. People tripped. A man fell and got stepped on. A woman screamed as the soup tore through a metal barrier like it was paper. Homelander hovered, watching, waiting for the camera angle he liked. Wanda didn't wait. She thrust her hand forward. Red force slammed into the stone-skinned soup and lifted him off the ground. He flailed, roaring, trying to grab the air. Wanda's eyes focused. She didn't crush him. She didn't tear him apart. She pinned him. His body froze midair, trapped in invisible pressure. Homelander drifted down beside her, voice low. "Nice," he said. "Now let me finish it." He lifted his hand, heat vision ready. Wanda snapped her head toward him. "No." Homelander's smile vanished. "Excuse me." Wanda's voice stayed calm, but the red glow around her hands grew brighter. "People are getting hurt. Stop posing." Homelander's eyes flared red. "You don't tell me what to do." Before Wanda could answer, someone grabbed her arm from behind. A hand, rough, urgent. Wanda spun, red energy ready, and saw a man in a black coat with dead eyes and a dangerous grin. Billy Butcher. He didn't look like a hero. He looked like a war in human form. "All right, love," he said fast, voice low. "Time to go." Wanda jerked her arm back, shocked that he touched her at all. "Who are you?" Butcher didn't let go of her attention. "Someone who hates that flying wanker as much as you do." Huey appeared behind him, wide-eyed, hands up like he was trying not to scare a cat. Hi, please don't explode us. We're trying to help." Wanda stared at them, confused. Homelander's voice cut through, sharp and loud for the cameras. "Who the hell are you?" Butcher looked at Homelander and smiled like he wanted to bite. "Oh, just fans?" Homelander's eyes narrowed. He recognized Butcher. Rage surged. Wanda felt it. That rage was a fire that didn't stop. Sister Sage's voice came through Homelander's earpiece, too quiet for the crowd, but Wanda heard the intent behind it anyway. "Now. Make her choose." Homelander moved. Fast. He shot toward Butcher like a missile. Wanda reacted on instinct. A red wall snapped up between them. Homelander hit it, and the air boomed. The wall held. Homelander hovered inches from the barrier, eyes burning. "Move!" he snarled. Wanda's voice was tight. "Stop!" Homelander slammed into the barrier again. Cracks spread across the red field like lightning. The crowd screamed and ran. Cameras zoomed in. Hungry? Butcher grabbed Huey's collar and yanked him back. "This is it," he muttered. "This is the moment." Wanda glanced at the fleeing crowd. People were falling, getting trampled, getting crushed by the stampede more than by the attack. Wanda's chest tightened. She lifted her hands higher. The air above the plaza shimmered. A wide red dome formed, covering the worst of the chaos. Not trapping people, guiding them. Paths opened between panicking bodies, like invisible hands gently pushing them apart. People who were about to collide suddenly missed each other by inches. A falling child was lifted and set down safely on her feet. Wanda's face tightened with focus. Sweat beaded at her hairline. Homelander watched the dome form and felt something he hated even more than being blocked. He felt unnecessary. He turned his head slightly, making sure cameras caught his profile. Then he did what he always did when he felt small. He tried to make someone else smaller. "You think you're a savior?" Homelander said loudly. "You don't even have a name. You're just a freak with red lights." Wanda's jaw clenched. Butcher muttered, "Here we go." Homelander floated higher, pointing down at Wanda like a judge. "You're dangerous. You're unstable, and everyone is watching you." Wanda heard the crowd, felt their fear, their fascination, their hunger for a story. She also felt Butcher's hunger for a weapon. She felt Huey's honest worry. She felt Starlight somewhere in the chaos, moving fast, trying to help civilians without being seen. Wanda's hands trembled, not from weakness, from choice. Homelander's eyes flared red again. "Do something," he dared her. "Show them what you really are." Wanda's breath caught. For half a heartbeat, her mind flashed with a town under a hex, smiling faces, forced happiness, her own lie. "No," she whispered. Then she made a decision. The entire block went silent again. Sound vanished like someone shut a door on the world. People's mouths opened, but nothing came out. Guns fired, but there was no bang. Sirens became nothing. Even Homelander's voice died in his throat. Homelander blinked, shocked. Wanda stepped forward, eyes locked on him. In the silence, she spoke in a simple, clear way that felt heavier than shouting. "You don't get to control people," she said. Homelander's face twisted. His lips moved, but no sound came. Wanda lifted her hand and pointed, not like a threat, but like a boundary. The air around Homelander tightened. He froze in place, mid-air. It wasn't a full prison. Wanda could feel his strength pushing against it like a bull against a gate. But for a second, the gate held. Homelander's eyes widened. He had never been held like this in front of a crowd. Even without sound, people could see it. Phones captured his stillness, his confusion, the tiny crack in his god mask. Wanda looked down at Butcher and Huey. Butcher's mouth moved in the silence, shouting something she couldn't hear. Huey pointed desperately toward an alley, trying to guide her away. Wanda hesitated. Then she felt a heat inside Homelander's eyes building, fighting the silence, fighting her hold. He was about to break it. And when he did, he would make it worse. He would need to punish someone. He would need to make the world forget that he froze. Wanda's gaze flicked to the crowd again. Too many innocent people, too many cameras, too much chaos. Wanda released the silence. Sound crashed back. Homelander exploded forward the instant the hold loosened, heat vision blasting wild. Wanda snapped her hands together. A red shield caught the beam. The light bent and splashed harmlessly into the sky like a broken spotlight. The crowd screamed louder than before. Butcher lunged, grabbing Wanda's elbow again. "Move!" he barked. Wanda pulled away, eyes flashing. "Don't touch me." Butcher didn't flinch. He leaned close, voice harsh. "If you stay here, he'll kill everyone just to prove he can. You want that on your conscience?" Wanda's breath hitched. Conscience. That word stabbed deep. She glanced at Homelander. He hovered above, shaking with rage, trying to smile again for the cameras but failing. Sister Sage watched from the stage, eyes calm, like she was marking points on a chart. Firecracker screamed into a mic about witches and terror and patriots, feeding the crowd the story they were supposed to swallow. Wanda's mind raced. This was a trap. Not to kill her, to paint her, to corner her into becoming what they said she was. Wanda made a sharp choice. Red energy flared around her feet. The ground under Butcher, Huey, and Wanda softened like warm clay for 1 second, then opened like a sliding door. They dropped into darkness. The street sealed above them like nothing happened. Homelander's eyes went wide. He blasted the ground with heat vision, tearing up pavement and sending sparks and smoke into the air. But there was no hole, no sign, no witch. Just the roar of the crowd and the endless cameras catching his fury. Homelander turned slowly toward Sister Sage on the stage, breathing hard. Sage met his gaze. She didn't look scared. She looked satisfied. Homelander's jaw clenched until it looked like it might crack. "She ran," he growled. Sage's voice stayed calm in his ear. "No," she said. "She chose not to destroy you in public." Homelander's eyes narrowed. "That's worse." Sage watched the crowd, watching him. "Yes," she agreed. "It is." Above the plaza, the red crack in the sky flickered again, faint but real. And somewhere in the dark under the city, Wanda landed hard on cold concrete. Breath knocked out of her. She pushed herself up, eyes glowing red in the black. Butcher stood nearby, coughing, already grinning like he'd just stolen a nuclear warhead. Huey stumbled to his feet, hands shaking. "Okay," he gasped. "Okay, that worked." That actually worked. Wanda stared at them, chest rising and falling fast. "Who are you?" she demanded again, voice low and dangerous. Butcher wiped dust off his coat. "Name's Butcher," he said, "and welcome to the real world." Wanda's eyes narrowed. "Where am I?" Butcher's grin widened. "Underground," he said, "where monsters don't like to look." Wanda felt the city above them like a heavy ceiling. She also felt Homelander's rage searching, and deeper than that, she felt the red crack again. It pulsed once, like a heartbeat, like a countdown. Wanda's voice went quiet. "This world is broken." Butcher laughed, short and bitter. "Yeah," he said, "that's why we're here." Wanda looked at her hands. Red energy flickered, then faded. She didn't know these people. She didn't trust them. But she knew one thing for sure. If she stayed on Vought's stage, she would become their story. And if she fought Homelander at full force in front of cameras and crowds, this world would pay the price. Wanda lifted her gaze, eyes hard. "Take me to somewhere safe," she said. "Now." Butcher's smile sharpened. "Safe's expensive," he replied. Then he nodded toward the tunnel. "But I know a place." As they moved into the dark, far above them, Vought screens replayed the same moment again and again. Homelander, frozen in the air. A god held still, and the world seeing it. The tunnel smelled like wet stone and old metal. Wanda walked behind Billy Butcher and Huey, with Kimiko a few steps to the side like a silent guard dog. Mother's milk brought up the back. Frenchie kept glancing over his shoulder, as if he expected the ceiling to melt. Wanda could feel the city above them. It was loud, even through layers of ground. Thousands of minds buzzing. Thousands of phones replaying the same clip on loop. Homelander frozen in the air. A god held still. Wanda hated that she had done it, and she hated even more that she had needed to. Butcher's boots splashed through a shallow puddle. He didn't look back when he spoke. "You got a name, love?" Wanda's eyes narrowed. "Yes." "Right," Butcher said. "And you plan on sharing it? Or are we doing the mystery thing forever?" Huey half raised a hand, like he was trying to soften the moment. "It's okay if you don't. Really. We don't need it right now." Wanda looked at Huey. His fear was real, but it was not cruel. It was the fear of someone who had learned the world can take everything in one day. "It matters," Wanda said quietly. "Names matter." Butcher snorted. "Not here, they don't. Here you're a brand, a logo, a product." Wanda's jaw tightened at the word. She felt the pull again, the faint pressure in her bones, that red crack in the sky, like it was a wound that did not want to close. She forced herself to focus on the tunnel in front of her. Glanced back at Wanda, his voice calm but firm. "You asked for safe. Safe is relative. We'll do our best." Wanda nodded once. They reached a heavy steel door hidden behind a torn poster. Butcher punched a code into an old keypad. The door clicked. A second lock turned, then a third. Butcher pushed it open. Inside was a cramped basement room, lit by one buzzing strip light. There were old couches that had seen better decades, a table full of guns and tools. A whiteboard with scribbles and photos, and a printer on a shelf, dusty, with paper stacked beside it. Wanda's eyes went to the printer without meaning to. Butcher noticed and smirked. "You like office gear?" Wanda didn't answer. Huey rushed ahead and cleared a pile of junk off a chair. "Sit, please. You can sit. If you want." Wanda stayed standing. Kimiko tilted her head at Wanda, studying her like she was looking at a mirror. Frenchie stepped closer, hands open, gentle. "We are not Vought," he said. "We are, how you say, the rats in the walls." Wanda looked at him. "And what do you want?" Butcher answered before anyone else could. "We want the flying psycho dead." The room went still. Huey winced. "Butcher." "No," Butcher said, cutting him off. He stared at Wanda like he was trying to measure her. "Let's not play games. You saw him. You felt what he is. He's a monster." Wanda's eyes flickered. She remembered the child in his arm, the way he smiled for the camera while he threatened without saying it. "Yes," she said. "He is." Butcher's grin sharpened. "Good. So we're on the same page." "We are not," Wanda said. Butcher's smile faltered a fraction. "Excuse me." Wanda's voice stayed flat. "I am not your weapon." The words landed heavy in the small room. Rubbed a hand over his face like he was tired already. "Here we go." Butcher leaned forward. "No one said weapon." "You didn't have to," Wanda replied. "I can feel it." Butcher's eyes narrowed. "You can read minds." Wanda didn't blink. "I can feel intent." Huey swallowed hard. Okay. So, boundaries. That's good. We can do boundaries." Butcher pointed at Huey like he was swatting a fly. "Shut it." Huey flinched, but he didn't step back. "No, you shut it. Because if you talk to her like that, she'll leave, and then we're all dead. And also, it's rude." Butcher stared at him, annoyed. Wanda's gaze stayed on Huey. Something in her chest loosened by a tiny amount. A person who still cared about rude in this world was rare. Stepped between them, voice low. "We can want the same result and still not own each other. That's how teams work." Butcher laughed. This isn't a team. This is war. War still has rules, Emim said. Wanda looked from face to face. She saw their fear, their anger, their pain. She saw something else too. Hope. Thin, but real. She had not expected that here. Frenchie walked to the table and picked up a marker. We can talk strategy, he said, too eager. We can talk about what you can do. Wanda's eyes narrowed. No. Frenchie froze. No? Wanda's tone was quiet but sharp. I will not be studied. Frenchie's excitement drained. He nodded slowly. Okay. I understand. Kimiko took a step toward Wanda, then stopped. She lifted her hands and made a small motion across her chest, like she was pulling a zipper closed. Then she pointed at Wanda. Wanda understood without words. You and me. We were made into something. Wanda's throat tightened. She nodded once at Kimiko. Butcher watched that exchange, jaw tight, like it bothered him that anyone could reach Wanda except him. He tossed a file onto the table. Papers slid out. Photos, news clippings, a list of names. Here, Butcher said. This is what he did. This is what Vought did. You want to feel useful? Start there. Wanda looked at the papers without moving. She didn't need to read them to feel the pain inside them. The room was soaked with it, like smoke. Wanda lifted her gaze. I didn't come here to be useful. Butcher's eyes hardened. Then why the hell are you here? Wanda's voice went smaller, not weak, just honest. I don't know. Silence. Huey shifted on his feet. You fell through a red thing, right? Like a portal. Wanda nodded once. Huey looked at his hands like he was picking the right words. So, like, you're not from here, which is obvious. Because the whole paper drone thing? Not a soup thing. That was different. Wanda didn't correct him. She didn't give them the word magic. Not yet. Butcher stepped closer again. You can do whatever that is, and you can stop him. So stop him. Wanda stared at Butcher. And what happens after? Butcher blinked. After? Wanda's voice stayed steady. You kill him. Then someone else takes his place, or the company makes a new one, or the government tries to build a bigger cage. Butcher's face twisted. So we should do nothing? Wanda shook her head. No, but your world is built to replace monsters. Exhaled, slow. She's not wrong. Butcher snapped his head toward Don't start. Wanda turned away from them and looked at the buzzing light above. Her eyes stung. She thought of another solution she once made. A perfect town. A fake peace. A cage made of comfort. She had told herself it was better than pain, and it had been wrong. I will not make another cage, Wanda said. Not for you. Not for them. Not for myself. Butcher's voice dropped. Then what will you do? Wanda looked back at him. Eyes cold now. I will decide. Butcher stared at her for a long moment. Then he did something that almost looked like respect. Almost. He nodded once. Fine, he said. Decide quick. Up above, Vought decided too. Ashley Barrett sat in a bright conference room with a dozen people talking over each other. Screens showed graphs, social feeds, stock prices, clips of the rally from every angle. Homelander frozen, Homelander enraged. The woman in red dropping into the street like the world had torn. Ashley's nails dug into her palm under the table. A lawyer spoke fast. We need her to sign something, anything. If she becomes a public figure without a contract, we have no control. A PR director added, the name is trending. People are calling her Red Witch, Scarlet Lady, Devil Girl. Stop, Ashley snapped. We need one name. One story. Sister Sage sat at the far end of the table, quiet, watching the room like it was a lab. Firecracker was on a screen, mid-interview. smiling wide. She was already turning the rally into a political rant. "You saw it," she said to the host. "You saw a foreign threat. You saw the danger of unchecked powers. We need strong heroes. We need—" Ashley muted the TV with a jab. She turned to Sage. "Tell me you can fix this." Sage spoke calmly. "We can't erase what happened. So we shape what it means." Ashley swallowed. "Homelander." Sage cut in, still calm. "Homelander will be fine if the crowd believes he chose restraint." Ashley blinked. He didn't. Sage's eyes stayed flat. Reality does not matter as much as repetition. A tech assistant rushed in with a laptop. "We tried to print the NDA packet again," he said. "It's doing the thing." Ashley stiffened. "What thing?" He turned the laptop screen toward them. A live feed showed a printer spitting out page after page. Every page said the same line in bold. "I am not your product." Ashley's blood ran cold. A lawyer grabbed the pages like they were evidence of a crime. "This is sabotage." Sage's gaze sharpened with interest. "No," she said. "That's her." Ashley's voice rose. "She's not even in the building." Sage tilted her head. "She doesn't have to be." The room fell quiet. Ashley stared at the stack of pages. It was childish, almost. Petty. And yet it felt like a threat. Like the world itself was saying no. Stan Edgar's face appeared on a screen at the side of the room. He hadn't been invited. He never needed to be. "Stop printing forms," Edgar said, calm as always. A lawyer stammered. "Sir, we need—" Edgar's eyes didn't move. "You need a plan, not paper." Ashley's voice shook. "We lost her. She vanished under the street." Edgar nodded once. "Then you find her?" "How?" Ashley said. Edgar looked at Sister Sage. "You built a stage," he said. "Build a bait." Sage didn't flinch. "I already am." Edgar's voice stayed even. "Do not create an event that ends with her killing Homelander in public." Sage nodded. "Understood." Ashley raised a hand like a student. "What do we call her?" Edgar paused. "Nothing official," he said. "Not yet." Ashley almost laughed from stress. "That's not how this works." Edgar's gaze turned colder. "Then your system will learn." The screen went black. Ashley sat frozen for a moment. Then she sucked in a breath and forced herself to move. "Okay," she said, voice tight. "Okay." "We pivot." "What pivot?" a PR director asked. Ashley looked at the clip again. Homelander frozen in the air, the crowd screaming, the woman's face calm and terrible. "She's dangerous," Ashley said. "So we make the public agree." Sage's lips pressed together. "And we make her feel alone." Victoria Newman watched the same clip in a quiet office, wearing a calm smile. A staffer said, "Should we condemn her? Or welcome her?" Newman didn't look away from the screen. "Neither," she said softly. "We study the fear." The staffer hesitated. "Fear of her?" "Fear of losing control," Newman corrected. "That's the real fear. People don't mind monsters if monsters are on a leash." The staffer swallowed. "And she's not." Newman's smile widened a fraction. "No," she agreed. "She is not." She leaned back and folded her hands. "Set up a public statement." "I'll talk about safety, about oversight, about compassion." "Compassion?" the staffer repeated, surprised. Newman's eyes stayed warm. "Always compassion," she said. "It makes people relax. It makes them listen. Then you give them what they're really asking for." "And what are they asking for?" the staffer asked. Newman's voice stayed gentle. "A promise that someone will handle it." She tapped the screen where the woman in red stood. "And I intend to be that someone." Down in the safe house, Wanda finally sat. Not because she was tired in the normal way, because her mind felt like it had run for days. Huey handed her a bottle of water, like it was a peace offering. "It's not poisoned," he said quickly. "I mean, I don't think it's poisoned. It's from the store. The store is normal." Wanda took it and stared at the cap. Huey watched her hands, careful not to stare too hard. "So," he said, voice small, "you can do the sound thing again? The bubble?" Wanda's eyes lifted. "Yes." "That was insane," Huey said, then winced. "Sorry, that sounded… I mean, it was impressive. Scary impressive. But also, like, you saved people. You made paths. You lifted that kid. You didn't have to." Wanda's throat tightened. She didn't want praise. Praise turned into expectation. Expectation turned into cages. "I couldn't let them die," she said. Huey nodded like that was the most normal answer in the world. "Yeah." Butcher paced near the table, restless. "We've got a bigger problem," he said. Looked up. "What now?" Butcher pointed at a small TV in the corner. It was on mute, but the captions ran. Firecracker's face filled the screen. She was smiling like she'd won something. The caption read, "Foreign witch threatens America." Wanda's jaw tightened. Frenchie turned the volume on low. Firecracker's voice spilled into the room. "This is what they don't tell you," she said, loud and confident. "They let anyone in. They call it progress. Then you wake up, and you're living under a spell." Wanda stiffened. Huey frowned. "She's talking about you." "I know," Wanda said. Firecracker leaned closer to the camera, eyes bright with excitement. "We have reports," she continued, "that this woman has already enslaved people before, that she trapped an entire town, that she made children suffer." Huey's eyes widened. "How would she?" Frenchie answered, grim. "Vought has files. Vought has everything." Wanda's breathing turned shallow. Butcher watched her like a hawk. "That true?" he asked, too sharp. Wanda's head snapped toward him. Red energy flickered at her fingertips. Huey stepped between them fast. "Hey, don't! Not like that!" Grabbed Butcher's arm and yanked him back. "Watch your mouth." Butcher jerked free. "I'm asking." Wanda's voice dropped. "Yes," she said. The room fell quiet again. Kimiko's eyes didn't change. She didn't look away. Huey looked like he'd been punched. "You trapped a town?" Wanda's eyes stung. She stopped. She forced herself to say it plainly. "I was in pain. I wanted something that was gone. I made a terrible choice." Frenchie's voice softened. "And you regret it?" Wanda nodded once. Butcher's face twisted like he'd found a crack to push on. "So you are dangerous?" Wanda's eyes flashed. "Everyone is dangerous." Butcher smirked. "Not like you." Wanda stood slowly. The light above buzzed louder for a moment, like the room reacted to her mood. "I came here by accident," Wanda said. "I didn't choose your world. I didn't choose your monster. I didn't choose your company." Butcher lifted his chin. "But you can end it." Wanda stepped toward him, not threatening but firm. "I can also break it," she said. "All of it." Butcher held her gaze, not backing down. "Maybe it needs breaking." Wanda's voice turned colder. "Be careful what you wish for." Stepped in again, voice steady. "Enough. We are not doing this right now." Huey looked at Wanda, desperate. "Are you going to hurt people?" Wanda's eyes softened a fraction when she looked at him. "No," she said. "I won't." "But," Huey started. "But if he comes," Wanda finished, "and if he tries to kill, I will stop him." That was honest. It wasn't comforting, but it was real. Frenchie swallowed. "He will come." Wanda nodded slightly. "I know." She looked past them, like she could see the sky through the ceiling. "I can feel him," she said, and she could. Homelander's rage was loud. It moved across the city like a storm looking for a place to hit. Wanda closed her eyes for a second, and under that rage, she felt something else again. The pull, the red wound. It wasn't just in the sky anymore. It felt closer, like it had followed her down. Wanda's voice went quieter. Something came with me. Frowned. What do you mean? Wanda opened her eyes. I don't know what it is, she admitted, but it's not. From here. Butcher's smile returned. Sharp. Great, he said. Just what we need. Huey rubbed his face. Okay. So we have Vought lying, Homelander hunting, and bonus horror. Frenchie gave him a look. Do not say bonus. Huey shrugged helplessly. I'm coping. Kimiko made a small sound that was almost a laugh. It was tiny. But it mattered. Wanda looked at Kimiko again. She saw scars under the skin, not the kind that show, the kind that live inside. Wanda's chest tightened with something like understanding. Why do you fight? Wanda asked Kimiko softly. Kimiko stared back, then pointed at her own heart, then pointed upward, toward the world above. Wanda understood again. Because someone has to. Wanda's jaw clenched. She didn't want this job. She didn't want any job. She wanted quiet. She wanted a life that wasn't made of emergencies. But quiet didn't exist for her. Not anymore. That night, Starlight moved through the city like a ghost. She wore a hoodie and a mask, not for style, for survival. She watched the news playing in a shop window. Firecracker again. Big words. Big fear. Behind Firecracker, Vought graphics flashed. Red Witch. Unknown threat. Public safety. Starlight's hands tightened into fists. She kept moving. She didn't have a clear plan. She had something better. A goal. Find the woman before Vought makes her a villain on purpose. Starlight slipped into an alley and made a quick call from a burner phone. A voice answered. Gruff. Yeah? Mother's milk, Starlight said. It's me. A pause. Annie? Starlight's throat tightened at hearing her real name. You have her, she said. It wasn't a question. Another pause. How? I know you, Starlight cut in. If you could grab her, you would. But you don't have that kind of power. So you didn't grab her. She grabbed you, or she chose you. That means she's with you. Exhaled. What do you want? Starlight's voice went hard. I want you to not let Butcher ruin this. Didn't answer right away. Starlight continued, fast. He's going to treat her like a bomb. He's going to poke her until she explodes, and Vought is going to film it and sell the footage. MM's voice was low. We're handling it. Starlight almost laughed. No, you're surviving it. She swallowed. Listen, I can help. I can talk to her. I can keep it from turning into another disaster. Hesitated. You show up and Butcher will... I don't care, Starlight said. Give me a place. Didn't answer for a long moment. Then he gave her a location. Starlight's heart pounded. I'm coming, she said. She ended the call and looked up at the sky. High above, she saw nothing. But she felt like something was watching anyway. Homelander tore a door off its hinges. It wasn't the first door he'd broken today. It wouldn't be the last. A team of Vought technicians stood in the hallway outside the room, trembling. Ashley was among them, trying to look useful so she wouldn't die. Where is she? Homelander asked, voice too calm. Ashley's mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. We don't know. She sank into the ground. Like a what? Homelander asked. Ashley swallowed. Like a hole that closed. Homelander's eyes burned red for a second. Find her. Ashley nodded fast. We're trying. We have drones. We have facial recognition. Homelander stepped closer, and Ashley's whole body tensed like a small animal. He leaned in until his face was inches from hers. "You are going to fix the story," he said softly. "You're going to tell them I let her go, because I'm merciful." Ashley's eyes darted. Yes, of course." Homelander smiled, but it wasn't warm. "And you're going to make them hate her." Ashley froze. Homelander's smile widened. "Because if they fear her, they run to me." Ashley whispered, "But what if they fear you too?" Homelander's smile vanished. He lifted a hand and touched Ashley's shoulder. Not hard, not painful, just enough to make her feel the strength under his skin. "They don't get to fear me," he said. Ashley's voice shook. "Okay." Homelander pulled his hand away and turned. Sister Sage stood at the end of the hall, watching. Homelander walked toward her, boots heavy. "You promised me a plan." Sage nodded. "I gave you one." Homelander's jaw clenched. "She escaped." Sage's voice stayed calm. "She escaped with the boys." Homelander paused. That name hit a different part of him. Anger, memory, humiliation. Sage continued. "They will hide her. They will argue. They will try to use her." Homelander's eyes narrowed. And we will make her look like their weapon," Sage said. "Or their curse." Homelander stared at her. "How?" Sage held up a tablet. On it was a file full of clips. A town, people moving like puppets, smiling too hard, crying in private. Homelander blinked. "What is that?" Sage's eyes stayed flat. "A past incident. From her world." Homelander's lips parted slowly, delighted. "She did that?" Sage nodded. "We don't need to understand her powers. We only need to understand the public's stomach." Homelander leaned closer. "Show it." Sage spoke quietly. "We leak it. We frame it. We add a rumor that turns her pain into a horror story." Homelander's eyes gleamed. "Good," Sage added. "And we make sure she sees it." Homelander's grin sharpened. "So she breaks." Sage didn't smile. "So she acts." Homelander blinked. "What's the difference?" Sage's voice stayed even. "If she breaks in private, she can recover. If she acts in public, she becomes what we say she is." Homelander stared at her, then nodded slowly. "Do it," he said. Sage looked at him. "And you will not rush in," she warned. "Not until the moment is correct." Homelander's eyes flashed red. "I don't take orders." Sage met his gaze. "You do when you want to win." Homelander held the stare for a beat too long. Then he turned away. "Get me a camera crew," he said over his shoulder. "I want my angle." The leak hit the next morning. It was everywhere. Phones, TVs, billboards, the little screens in taxis, the big screens in stores. Clips of a town that wasn't this town. A woman in red walking through streets where people smiled like dolls. A child crying. A man begging. And a voiceover, confident and cruel, telling the audience what to think. Which enslaves town, which steals children. Wanda watched it on the small TV in the safe house, her face going still. Butcher watched her face more than he watched the screen. Huey's eyes were wide, shocked. "Wanda, is that—" Wanda's hands tightened at her sides. "Yes," she said. Huey swallowed. "But that's not. They're cutting it weird. They're making it look like you were laughing." Wanda's jaw clenched. "I never laughed." Butcher leaned in. "So what? They ain't wrong about the main bit." Snapped. "Butcher." Butcher didn't look away from Wanda. "Tell him then," he said. "Tell him what you did." Wanda's eyes flashed red. The light in the room flickered. Huey stepped closer to Wanda, voice shaking but firm. "Stop," he told Butcher. "Stop pushing her." Butcher's mouth curled. "I'm not pushing. I'm testing. Because if she's going to lose it, I want to know now." Wanda's breathing turned shallow, her mind filled with images she hated. Faces trapped, voices forced, people she had hurt. She had been trying to hold that part of herself down, like a lid on boiling water. Now Vought had ripped the lid off in public. Kimiko walked to the TV and turned it off with a hard click. Silence filled the room. Wanda stared at the dark screen. Her voice came out low. "They want me to be the villain." MM nodded. "Yeah." Wanda's throat tightened. "And he wants to be the hero." Huey rubbed his eyes. "This is sick," Butcher shrugged. "Welcome to America." Wanda turned toward Butcher, eyes cold. "You think this is funny?" Butcher held her gaze. "I think it's useful. Now everyone knows what you are." Wanda took a step toward him. Red energy flickered around her hands, brighter now. Butcher didn't back up. He looked almost excited, like a man watching a storm roll in. Wanda's voice shook, not from fear, but from restraint. "I am not." A sharp knock hit the steel door. Everyone froze. Another knock. Then a voice, muffled through the metal. "Ma'am, it's me, Annie." MM exhaled hard. Butcher cursed under his breath. Huey looked relieved like he might cry. Wanda frowned. "Who is Annie?" MM moved to the door, pulled a lock, then another, then opened it just enough. Starlight stepped inside, hood up, eyes scanning the room. She saw Wanda and stopped. For a beat, neither of them moved. Wanda felt Starlight's mind. It was guarded, but not hostile, determined, angry at Vought, afraid of what Wanda could become. Starlight lowered her hood. "Hi," she said, careful. "I'm Annie. People call me Starlight." Wanda stared at her. "You were at the rally." Starlight nodded. "I was trying to help people without getting my head ripped off." Wanda's lips pressed together. "That's wise." Starlight's eyes flicked to the printer on the shelf, then to the stack of Vought papers Butcher had on the table. Butcher noticed. "Don't start," he warned. Starlight ignored him. She took a slow step toward Wanda. "They're using your pain," she said. "They do it to everyone. They did it to me, too." Wanda's gaze stayed hard. "You're one of them." Starlight's voice tightened. "I was. I'm not anymore." Butcher laughed. "She's on our side now. Mostly." Starlight turned her head just enough to glare at Butcher. "Not your side. The side that doesn't let monsters win." Wanda watched Starlight closely. "What do you want?" Wanda asked. Starlight didn't hesitate. "I want you to not be alone in this." Wanda's throat tightened at the simple truth of that. Huey stepped forward, hands half raised. "See? She's normal. Like, as normal as any of us are now." Butcher pointed at the TV. "Normal people don't enslave towns." Starlight snapped, "Shut up!" Butcher's grin widened. "Touchy." Starlight faced Wanda again. "Listen," she said. "You can leave. You can disappear. But they'll chase you. They'll make you the enemy no matter what." Wanda's eyes narrowed. "And your plan is what?" Starlight swallowed. "My plan is to help you stay in control. Because if you don't, they win twice." Wanda felt her own anger like heat under skin. She didn't want to hurt anyone. But she could feel a second fear growing in the city now. Not just fear of her, fear of reality slipping. Since she arrived, small glitches had started. She could sense them. A mirror showing the wrong face for a blink. A street sign changing spelling, then snapping back. A dream shared by strangers. Red snow falling in a place that had no snow. Wanda pressed her fingers to her temple. Huey watched her. "You okay?" Wanda's voice went quiet. "No." Butcher's eyes sharpened. "What now?" Wanda looked up, eyes shining red in the dim light. "I can feel something," she said. "It's getting closer." Frenchie stepped forward, careful. Something like, a creature? Wanda shook her head. Not like a creature. Like a door. Frowned. A door to where? Wanda's mouth trembled. To what I want, she whispered before she could stop herself. Everyone stared. Huey's eyes softened. What you want? Wanda shut her eyes for a beat. Then she forced herself to say it in plain words. My children, she said. The room went very still. Starlight's face shifted, confused. Your children. Butcher's eyes widened, sharp and hungry. Kids, he repeated. You've got kids. Wanda's eyes snapped open. They're not here, she said fast. They're... Her voice caught. They might not exist in this world at all. Butcher leaned in, grin forming. Or they might. And if they do, you'll tear this whole place apart to find them. Wanda's red energy flared. The printer on the shelf whirred on by itself. Paper slid out, 1 page at a time. Each page printed the same line, bold and clean. I am not your product. Huey stared at it, then let out a shaky laugh. Okay, that printer is on your side. Wanda didn't laugh, but Starlight's eyes flicked to the pages, and she understood something. This isn't just about Homelander, Starlight said softly. This is about what they can make you become. Wanda swallowed. Yes. Butcher's voice turned eager. Then here's a simple deal. You help us kill him. We help you find your kids. Wanda stared at Butcher like he'd spit in her face. You can't help me, Wanda said. You don't even know what I am. Butcher's grin didn't fade. I know what you are right now. You're a chance. Wanda's eyes hardened. I am not your chance. Butcher took a step closer. Then what are you? Wanda's voice dropped to a whisper, but it filled the room anyway. I'm trying to be better, she said, and you are trying to make me worse. Butcher's expression twisted with annoyance. Starlight stepped between them, bright anger in her eyes. Back off, she told Butcher. Right now, Butcher scoffed. Or what? You'll blind me with glitter? Starlight didn't flinch. Or she will, she said, nodding toward Wanda. And you won't even hear it happen. Butcher's eyes flicked to Wanda, then away. He backed up half a step, not because he was scared, because he was smart enough to know timing. Wanda breathed out slowly. The red energy around her hands faded, but the pull in her bones did not. If anything, it felt stronger now that her secret was spoken out loud. Wanda looked at Starlight. You said you can help me stay in control. Starlight nodded. I can try. Wanda's voice was tight. Then I need a place. Quiet. Away from cameras. Frowned. What are you going to do? Wanda swallowed. I'm going to find out if that door is real. Butcher's eyes gleamed. And if it is? Wanda looked him dead in the face. Then I close it. Butcher blinked, surprised by the answer. Wanda turned away from him and toward the darkest corner of the room, where the buzzing light didn't reach. For the first time since she arrived, she let herself feel the truth. Hope, a dangerous thing, a thing that could break her. She clenched her fists, and somewhere far above, the red wound in the sky pulsed once, like it had heard her say the word, children, like it was answering. Wanda chose the place herself, not with a map, with her senses. She walked the city at night with Starlight a block behind, hood up, face hidden. Huey trailed too, mostly because he refused to let Wanda walk into a trap alone, and because he didn't know how to stop being brave when it counted. Butcher hated the idea. He wanted Wanda where he could see her, where he could point her like a gun. Forced him to stay back. If you push her now, said, you'll lose her. Butcher's eyes were cold. And if we coddle her, we'll lose everything. Didn't blink. Then learn patience. Butcher spat on the ground and walked away. Wanda led them to an abandoned church at the edge of a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't holy anymore. It was just empty. The windows were boarded. The front doors were chained. Someone had painted a Vought logo on the side wall like a joke. Wanda touched the chain. It fell apart into dust. Huey stared. That's convenient. Wanda didn't answer. Inside, the church smelled like old wood and rain. The floor was covered in broken glass and fallen plaster. A few pews were still intact. A stained glass window lay shattered on the ground like spilled candy. Wanda walked to the center aisle and stopped. "This is it," she said. Starlight looked around, tense. "Why here?" Wanda's voice was simple. "It's quiet," she said, "and it used to be a place where people asked for things." Huey swallowed. "That's dark." Wanda's eyes stayed on the empty altar. "It's honest." Frenchie arrived later with a bag of supplies: chalk, salt, candles, a few small tools. He looked embarrassed. "I know you said no studying," he told Wanda quickly. "This is not science. This is just helping." Wanda nodded once. Frenchie held up a box. "Also, I bought these," he said, "because they were on sale. They are non-toxic." Huey blinked. "Why does chalk need a warning label?" Frenchie shrugged. "America." Wanda almost smiled. Almost. It was small, but Starlight saw it. She relaxed by a hair. Wanda knelt on the floor and began to draw a circle with chalk. Her hand moved steady. Her face was focused, like she was doing math. Huey hovered at the edge. "So what is this?" Wanda didn't look up. "A boundary," she said. Starlight's voice was careful. "A hex?" Wanda paused at the word. Her hand tightened. "Yes," she said. Huey swallowed. "Is that safe?" Wanda's voice was flat. "No." Huey's eyes widened. "Oh." Wanda lifted her gaze. "But I will make it safer," she said. "Because I have to." She finished the circle. Then she drew smaller marks inside it. Each one precise. Frenchie watched like he couldn't stop himself, then caught Wanda's glance and quickly looked away. "Sorry," he muttered. Wanda didn't scold him. She understood curiosity. It was just dangerous in the hands of people like Vought. Starlight stepped closer. "What do you need from us?" Wanda stood. "Stay outside the circle," she said. "And if I start to lose focus, talk to me." Huey blinked. "Talk to you?" Wanda nodded once. "Keep me here," she said. "In this room. In this moment." Starlight's voice softened. "Okay." Wanda took a breath and stepped into the circle. Red energy rose around her hands, slow and controlled. It lit the broken church in a soft glow. Huey whispered, "Wow." Wanda closed her eyes and reached, not outward, like a blast, inward, then beyond, like she was pushing her fingers through a thin curtain. At first, there was nothing but static in her mind. Noise, thousands of worlds that didn't matter. She forced herself to slow down. She pictured two faces, two boys, two voices. Billy. Tommy. Her throat tightened. "Please," she whispered, "not to a god, not to fate, but to the universe itself. Just tell me." The red energy brightened. The air inside the circle grew heavy. The shattered glass on the floor trembled. Then Wanda heard it. A laugh. Not loud, not clear, but real. A child's laugh, like it was coming through a wall. Wanda's eyes snapped open. For a split second, she saw a flash of a room she didn't recognize. A toy on the floor, a pair of small feet running past. Then it was gone. Wanda swayed. Starlight stepped forward fast. "Wanda!" Wanda lifted a hand, shaking. "Don't," she said, voice breaking. I almost have it." Huey's voice was soft, urgent. Hey, breathe. You're here. You're in a church. We're We're with you." Wanda's eyes filled with tears she didn't let fall. "I heard them," she whispered. Starlight's face tightened. "You heard your kids." Wanda nodded, barely. And that was the moment the world answered back. The red crack, the wound, tugged hard. The circle on the floor flared brighter than Wanda intended. A cold pressure filled the church, like something had stepped into the doorway. Frenchie backed up. That is not you doing that, yes?" Wanda's breathing turned shallow. "Something followed the signal," she said. Starlight's eyes sharpened. "What is it?" Wanda didn't answer, because she didn't know. The air above the circle rippled. A shape formed. Not a person. Not an animal. It looked like a cluster of dark fragments, like torn pages spinning in a storm. Red light pulsed inside it like veins. Huey stared, frozen. "Is that paper?" Frenchie whispered. "That is not paper." The shape dropped to the floor with a wet slap, even though it had no flesh. Then it lifted up again, taller, stretching itself into something like a body. A head formed last, turning slowly toward Wanda. Wanda felt its hunger. It wasn't hungry for food. It was hungry for her power, for her grief, for the door she'd opened. Wanda's voice went tight. "Stay back," she warned everyone outside the circle. The thing twitched toward her. Wanda lifted both hands. A red force wall snapped up between her and the creature. The creature hit the wall and flattened against it like it was made of shadow and ink. It dragged itself along the barrier, searching for a seam. It found none. Wanda's jaw clenched. "You don't get in," she said. The creature's head tilted, and then it did something that made Wanda's stomach drop. It showed her a picture, not with words, with feeling. A flash of Billy's face, Tommy's face, both of them crying. Wanda's focus wavered. Starlight shouted, "Wanda, that's not real. It's messing with you." Wanda's breathing hitched. "I know," she whispered. "I know." But knowing didn't erase the pain. The creature pressed harder against the barrier. Cracks of red light spread across Wanda's force wall like stress lines. Wanda growled under her breath and pushed back, pouring more power into the shield. The church shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Huey grabbed a fallen pew and shoved it toward the door. We should block entrances, right? Like basic horror rules?" Frenchie snapped. "Yes, do the horror rules!" Starlight didn't move from her spot. Her hands glowed faintly, ready to blast if she had to, even though she knew it might do nothing. Wanda kept her eyes on the creature. "You're not taking anything from me," she said. The creature slammed into the barrier again. Wanda shoved back. The shock made the circle flare. And outside the church, the sky changed. Cameras on nearby buildings flickered. Streetlights blinked. Car alarms went off for no reason. People looked up and saw a thin red line in the clouds. The wound. Vought's sensors noticed it in seconds. Sister Sage watched the live data roll in. A red anomaly spike. Location locked. Ashley's voice trembled over comms. "It's her, isn't it?" Sage's eyes stayed calm. "Yes," she said. Ashley swallowed. "Should we send Homelander?" Sage's mouth tightened. "Not first." "What then?" Ashley asked. Sage looked at the camera feed from a drone already moving toward the church. "Send the cameras," Sage said. "Send the teams. Send the story." Ashley whispered, "This could get people killed." Sage's voice stayed flat. "People die every day. We choose which deaths serve the system." Ashley went quiet. Sage added, "And notify Newman. She will want to be seen responding." Ashley's voice shook. "She's going to use this." "Everyone will," Sage replied. She tapped her screen and sent one more message to Homelander. "Not yet." "Wait for your moment," Homelander replied with one word. "Why?" Sage typed back. "Because you want them to run to you. A pause. Then Homelander answered. Fine. Sage leaned back, in her mind. It was simple. A powerful stranger tries to find her children. She opens a door. Something comes through. The public sees chaos. The public begs for safety. And safety has a face. Sage's eyes returned to the drone feed. The church roof glowed faintly red from the inside. Sage whispered to herself, almost curious. Show me what you do when you think your kids are on the other side. Inside the church, the creature finally found a seam. Not in Wanda's barrier. In Wanda. It hit her with another wave of images. A room, a crib, a child calling Mom. Wanda's eyes widened. Her mouth trembled. Her shield flickered. The creature forced one arm through like a needle pushing through cloth. Starlight screamed, "Wanda!" Wanda's face hardened. She clenched her fists. "No!" she said, voice shaking with fury. No more tricks. Red energy exploded outward. Not a blast to destroy the whole church. A tight pulse that snapped the creature's arm back out of the barrier like a rubber band. The creature shrieked without sound, its body spasming. Wanda stepped forward inside the circle, eyes burning. "You want my pain?" she said. "Then choke on it." She reached out, not with anger alone, but with control. The creature's body froze. Wanda's power wrapped around it like iron bands. She compressed it, not to crush it into nothing, but to pack it down into something smaller, containable. The creature fought. It pulsed. It tried to spread. Wanda tightened her grip. The spinning pages folded in on themselves. The creature shrank into a twitching ball of shadow and red light. Wanda breathed hard. Starlight stared in awe. Even she couldn't stop herself. Huey whispered, "Oh my God." Frenchie muttered, "That is terrifying." Wanda held the contained creature in midair, like a trapped storm in a jar. "It came through because of me," Wanda said, voice tight. "If I open that door again, more will come." Starlight nodded, jaw clenched. "Then don't open it here." Wanda's eyes stung. "I didn't mean to." Huey stepped forward, careful. "So, what now?" Wanda looked down at the ball of shadow. She could feel it still trying to whisper, still trying to show her what she wanted to see, still trying to make her choose. Wanda's voice went quiet. "Now I seal the signal." She lifted her free hand and traced a line in the air. A red seam appeared above the circle, like a zipper in the world. Wanda pulled it closed. The air snapped back into place. The pressure eased. The red glow in the church dimmed. For a moment, Wanda felt relief. Then the church doors exploded inward. Not from the creature, from outside. A tactical team flooded in with guns and flashlights and body cams. A drone hovered behind them, filming everything. 2 soups followed, grinning like they'd been given permission to be cruel. "Hands up!" a soldier shouted. Huey yelped and threw his hands up instantly. "Okay, yep, hands are up!" Frenchie cursed in French. Starlight's eyes flared bright. "Back off," she warned. The lead soldier stared at her. "Starlight? What the hell?" A soup with thick skin laughed. "Look at this, a reunion." Wanda turned slowly, still inside the circle, still holding the trapped creature. The cameras caught her face, tired, angry, red lit, the perfect villain shot. Wanda felt it immediately. This wasn't just a raid, it was a scene. She looked at the drone. It hovered closer, hungry. Wanda's jaw clenched. A gun barrel pointed at Huey's head. Huey froze, eyes wide. Hey man, that's too close. That's like a lot." The soldier's hands trembled. Wanda felt the soldier's fear. Not fear of Huey, fear of Homelander if he failed. Wanda's voice was low. "Lower your weapon." The soldier flinched. "Ma'am, "Lower it," Wanda repeated. The gun didn't lower. Instead, the soldier shouted, "Take the witch!" The thick-skinned soup charged. Wanda didn't move from the circle. She lifted one finger. The soup froze mid-step like time had snagged him. His grin slid off his face. Wanda looked past him at the cameras. "Get them out," she said to Starlight and MM. "Now." Starlight grabbed Huey's arm and yanked him back. MM tackled Frenchie toward the side door. Kimiko moved like a blur, ripping a camera off a soldier's helmet and smashing it into the floor. The drone swooped lower. Wanda's eyes tracked it. The drone's metal warped. It turned into a stack of blank forms mid-air. They fluttered down like snow. Each page, as it fell, printed one line in bold ink. "I am not your product." The soldiers stared, confused. Huey, dragging his feet as Starlight pulled him, shouted, "She's doing it again! The printer thing, but like airborne!" Starlight yelled, "Run, Huey!" Wanda felt the trap tightening. Outside, sirens wailed. People gathered. More cameras. More eyes. If she fought here, full force, the city would turn into a disaster zone. If she surrendered, Vought would put her in a box and sell her face. The ball of shadow in her grip pulsed, sensing her stress. It tried to whisper again. Wanda clenched her jaw. Not today. She raised both hands. The floor inside the church shifted, not breaking, not exploding. Opening. A clean drop, like an elevator shaft made of air. Starlight, MM, Huey, Frenchie, Kimiko, all fell through it into darkness below. Wanda held the drop open for one more second. A soldier lunged toward her. Wanda flicked her wrist. The soldier's vest turned into foam, and his boots glued to the floor. He stopped dead, wide-eyed, unharmed, but stuck. Wanda stepped backward into her own opening. As she dropped, she released the contained creature. Not into the room, into the sealed seam she'd just closed. She shoved it through like throwing a sack into a locked closet. Then she snapped the seam shut behind it. The world clicked back into place. Wanda landed hard in a deeper tunnel, knees bending, boots scraping. Starlight was already up, light glowing in her palms. Huey coughed. "This is becoming our thing," he wheezed. "Fall through holes. It's a theme." Frenchie groaned. "I hate this theme." Wanda didn't answer. Above them, the church shook with angry footsteps. But the hole was gone. Wanda breathed hard, eyes blazing in the dark. Starlight stepped close, voice urgent. "You did good," she said. "You didn't hurt them." Wanda's voice was tight. "They will keep coming." MM nodded grimly. "Yeah." Huey stared at Wanda. "And that thing? The shadow paper monster." Wanda swallowed. "It's not the only one," she said. Her throat tightened, because she could still feel the laugh she heard. For a split second, it had been real. That was the cruelest part. Now she knew the door could open, and now she knew something waited to use it. Wanda looked up at the ceiling, as if she could see the sky through tons of earth. Her voice came out as a whisper. "They're going to use my children against me," she said. Starlight's face hardened. "Then we don't let them." Wanda's eyes stung again. She didn't cry, but she nodded. And somewhere above, the red wound in the sky pulsed brighter, like it was laughing too. 2 weeks passed, and the city still talked like the rally happened 10 minutes ago. Wanda heard it everywhere, in the minds of strangers on the subway, in the angry voices outside bars, in the nervous jokes people told at work, in the way people looked up at the sky like they expected the red crack to come back. Some people called her a demon. Some called her a savior. Most people didn't know what to call her at all. Wanda did not correct them. She didn't want a name in this world. Names turned into logos here. The safe place the boys picked was not really safe. It was just hard to find. A narrow apartment above a closed copy shop. The windows were covered. The stairwell smelled like old toner and wet cardboard. Huey said it was kind of cozy, which was his way of lying to himself. The copy shop downstairs still had power. The old machines still worked if you kicked them in the right spot. The printer was Wanda's favorite and least favorite thing, because it would not stop. Every time Vought tried to register her, the printer would wake up like it was offended. Paper would slide out on its own, neat and clean, with one sentence in bold. "I am not your product." Huey unplugged it 3 times. It still printed. Frenchie tried to take it apart. The screws fell out and turned into tiny metal flowers. He put the printer back together quietly after that. Taped a sign on it that said, "Do not anger the printer." Kimiko drew a little face on the sign, like the printer was a grumpy pet. Wanda did not smile often, but sometimes late at night, she would look at the printer and breathe out through her nose, almost amused. Then she would remember why it was happening, and the warmth would vanish. Most mornings, Wanda woke before the others. She sat on the apartment floor, legs folded, hands resting on her knees. She practiced control with small things. She made a cup slide across the floor and stop exactly on a line in the wood. She made a torn piece of paper mend itself without changing into something else. She made the buzzing light overhead steady, then let it buzz again, then steady again. She forced herself to do it slow. No big waves, no storms, because she knew what she could do when she let go. Sometimes, when the city outside went quiet for a moment, Wanda would reach out with her senses. She would feel for that pull again. That door. It was still there. Not open. Not fully closed either. Like a seam in the world that was stitched badly. And every time she touched it, she felt something on the other side shift closer, like it was waiting for her to get tired. Wanda didn't tell the others every time she felt it. She didn't want fear to become another cage. But Starlight noticed the way Wanda's shoulders tightened at random times, like she heard a sound no one else could hear. One morning, Starlight sat down across from her, quiet. "You didn't sleep," Starlight said. Wanda didn't open her eyes. "I slept." Starlight didn't push. She just nodded. "Okay." Wanda's fingers flexed. A small red spark flickered and died. Starlight watched her hands. "You've been careful," she said. "That matters." Wanda's eyes opened, tired. "Careful doesn't fix what I broke." Starlight's voice stayed steady. "No," she admitted, "but careful keeps you from breaking more." Wanda looked away. On the kitchen counter behind Starlight, Huey was making instant coffee with the seriousness of a scientist. He stirred too hard and spilled it. He stared at the spill like it had personally insulted him. Wanda felt an almost laugh rise, then stop. Huey noticed her watching and froze. It's not my fault." The spoon slipped. Wanda didn't answer, but she didn't look angry either. Huey relaxed by a fraction and muttered, "This is why I should not be in charge of liquid." Butcher stomped into the room, already irritated by morning existing. He glanced at Wanda. "We still doing meditation, are we?" Starlight's eyes narrowed. "Back off." Butcher ignored her. He looked at Wanda with that same sharp hunger, like he was waiting for her to slip. "You've been hiding," he said. Wanda's gaze stayed calm. "I've been preventing damage," Butcher scoffed. "You call this preventing?" Vaught's got half the country screaming witch hunt. Homelander's doing hero patrols with cameras glued to his face. They're building fear into a product, and you're sitting on the floor. Wanda's eyes flickered. "I'm not your weapon." Butcher's jaw tightened. Yeah. We've established you love saying that." Wanda stood slowly. The air in the room shifted, like the temperature dropped a single degree. Butcher didn't flinch. He just leaned in harder, because that was what he did when he smelled power. "You want to help people?" he pressed. "Then finish it. Kill him." Wanda's voice stayed low. "And then what happens to the city?" Butcher shrugged. "It breathes." Wanda stepped closer, eyes cold. "No," she said. "It panics. It burns. It becomes a war zone, because your world does not know how to live without a monster on a billboard." Butcher's mouth twisted. "So we just let him live." Wanda stared at him. "No," she said again. "We stop him in a way that doesn't turn everyone else into victims." Butcher opened his mouth to argue. Cut in, sharp. "Enough! Both of you!" Butcher threw his hands up like he was the only adult in the room. "Fine, we'll do nothing." "Great plan." Huey lifted a hand timidly. "We're not doing nothing. We're doing quiet stuff. Like last night, when she stopped that mugging." Butcher snapped his head toward Huey. "What?" Huey swallowed. "Yeah, she went out. Just for a minute. There was this guy with a gun and..." Wanda's eyes tightened. "Huey." Huey winced. "Sorry, but it's true. She didn't kill him. She turned the gun into a stapler." Frenchie looked up from the couch, surprised. "A stapler?" Huey nodded. "A really cheap one." Frenchie blinked. "That is insulting." Wanda's mouth tightened. "He wasn't trying to kill," she said. "He was trying to scare. So I scared him back." Kimiko made a small sound that could have been approval. Butcher stared at Wanda, then shook his head. "Little hero acts won't fix the big problem." Wanda held his gaze. "Big acts can destroy everything," she replied. Butcher's eyes flashed. "Sometimes destruction is the point." Wanda didn't argue. She just turned away. Because she understood him. That scared her more than anything he said. Vought didn't waste those 2 weeks. They filled them. Firecracker was everywhere, loud and smiling, standing under flags and bright lights, talking about safety and threats. She called Wanda a curse with a grin that said she enjoyed it. Sister Sage stayed behind the scenes, building simple stories that stuck in people's heads. The kind of story that didn't need proof, only repetition. Homelander played the good guy in public and the predator in private. In public, he smiled and protected crowds. He saved people from problems Vought created. He hugged babies for cameras. He looked like a perfect answer. In private, he paced in Vought Tower like a caged animal. He watched the clip of himself frozen at the rally until his jaw hurt from clenching. Then he watched it again. Ashley avoided his eyes every time she walked past him. Sage didn't. She sat in the same chair every time he stormed into the room, calm as a doctor, while a patient screamed. "They're still laughing," Homelander snarled. "They're still watching," Sage corrected. Homelander slammed a fist into a wall. The concrete cracked. "I want her in front of me," Sage nodded. "Then give her a reason to come." Homelander's eyes narrowed. "You already tried that." "The church. She ran." "She didn't run," Sage said. "She chose to reduce harm." Homelander's lip curled. "Same thing." Sage tilted her head. "No, it means she has rules, and rules can be used." Homelander leaned closer. "Then use them." Sage tapped her tablet. "We will," she said. "But not by chasing her, by inviting her." Homelander blinked. "Invite?" Sage's voice stayed flat. "A private meeting. No crowds, no stampede, no easy excuse for her to vanish." Homelander's eyes gleamed. "And what do I offer her?" Sage paused. "What does she want?" Homelander smiled slowly, like the idea tasted good. "A family," he said. Sage didn't smile back. "Then offer one," she said, "and keep a knife behind it." Homelander's grin sharpened. Now you're speaking my language. Sage tapped her screen again. At the same moment, in the copy shop apartment, the printer woke up. Huey groaned. No. We are not doing printer horror at 6 a.m. Paper slid out. Wanda walked over, silent, and picked up the page. It wasn't the usual line this time. It was a message. Short. Clean. Like a threat trying to pretend it was polite. Come alone. Midnight. VNN rooftop studio. Or they die. Huey's face went pale. Who's they? MM's eyes hardened. It's bait. Butcher's grin returned like he'd been waiting for this. Finally. Wanda stared at the paper. She could feel Homelander behind it. His need. His anger. His ego. And under that, she felt something else tug. That door. Like it liked the idea of her being alone. Wanda's voice was calm. I'm going. Starlight stepped forward. No, she said fast. Not alone. Wanda looked at her. He asked for a loan. Starlight's jaw clenched. Of course he did. He wants control. Wanda nodded. Yes. Huey swallowed hard. Maybe we don't go. Maybe we run. Like to Canada. Or space. Is space an option? Butcher scoffed. He'll just start killing people until she comes. Wanda's eyes narrowed. He will, she agreed. Rubbed a hand over his face. So what's the move? Wanda folded the page and tucked it into her pocket. The move is I go, she said, and I keep him away from all of you. Butcher stepped forward. And when you've got him alone, you finish him. Wanda looked at Butcher like he was a child asking for candy. No, she said. Butcher's face twisted with anger. Then what are you doing? Wanda's voice stayed even. I'm setting a boundary he understands. Butcher laughed once, bitter. He doesn't understand boundaries. Wanda's eyes flickered red for a moment. Then I will teach him. Starlight reached out and lightly touched Wanda's arm. If you go, she said, promise me something. Wanda looked at her hand, then back at her face. What? Starlight's voice softened. Promise you won't open that door again. Not for him. Not for anyone. Wanda's throat tightened. She pictured Billy and Tommy again. Her hands trembled slightly. Then she nodded. I promise, she said. It was the hardest promise she'd made in a long time. The VNN rooftop studio was bright, modern, and full of cameras. Even at midnight, it looked ready for a morning show. Homelander stood in the center, wearing his cape like it was a throne. A small crew waited at the edges, tense and silent, like they'd been ordered to breathe quietly. Sage stood near a monitor, arms folded. Homelander smiled when he felt Wanda arrive. He didn't hear a door. He didn't see an elevator open. 1 second, she wasn't there. The next second, she was. Wanda stood near the far wall, red energy faint around her hands. Eyes tired and sharp. Homelander opened his arms like he was greeting a guest on a talk show. There she is, he said warmly. My mystery woman. Wanda didn't move. Who is they? She asked. Homelander's smile widened. Relax. It's a figure of speech. Wanda's eyes narrowed. Lie again. Homelander's smile tightened. For a second, anger flashed behind his eyes. Then he breathed out, forcing calm. Fine, he said. I meant your friends. The rats. Wanda's gaze stayed cold. Where are they? Homelander's eyes flicked toward Sage. Sage didn't react. Homelander shrugged. Not here, he said. Not yet. But they could be. Wanda's jaw clenched. Homelander stepped closer. Slow. See? This is why I wanted you alone, he said. You're smart. You can think without them pulling you around. Wanda didn't answer. Homelander's voice turned softer. Like honey over a knife. You don't belong with them, he said. They hate. That's all they do. Hate and hide. Wanda's eyes flicked. "And you belong with me?" Homelander smiled. "Yes," he said, like it was obvious, "because we're the same." Wanda's red glow brightened. "We are not." Homelander's smile didn't drop. "Oh, come on," he said. "You're powerful. You want control. You want people to stop hurting you. That's what I give." Wanda's voice went quiet. "You give pain." Homelander's eyes hardened for a blink. Then he forced the smile back. "I give order," he corrected. He waved a hand toward the cameras. "You know what this world wants?" he asked. "It wants heroes. It wants a story. It wants a mother who saves children. It wants a queen next to the king." Wanda stared at him. Sage watched, still as stone, eyes moving like she was counting heartbeats. Homelander took another step closer. "Join me," he said. "We'll fix it. No more fear. No more random violence. No more people stepping out of line." Wanda's stomach turned. "You mean no more freedom?" Homelander's smile sharpened. "Freedom is what people say when they don't know what they need." Wanda's eyes flashed. She lifted one hand. The sound died. The rooftop studio became a silent box. Cameras still recorded, but there was no hum. No footsteps. No breath. Homelander's eyes widened, angry and alarmed. Wanda walked toward him, slow and steady. She didn't touch him. She didn't blast him. She just looked up at him like she was looking at a dangerous animal in a cage. In the silence, her voice still reached him, clear and direct. "You will not threaten them," she said. Homelander's lips moved, but no sound came. Wanda raised her finger slightly. Homelander froze in place, hovering a few inches off the floor. His arms locked. His cape hung still. His eyes burned red, fighting. Wanda felt his strength slam against her hold like a truck hitting a wall. She held anyway. Not forever. Not easily. But long enough. Wanda leaned closer, her eyes level with his. "You want a family?" she said. "You don't know what that word means." Homelander's face twisted with rage. He strained harder. Wanda's jaw clenched. A bead of sweat rolled down her temple. And then, like a snake smelling blood, the door inside Wanda tugged. A whisper slid into the edge of her mind. Not Homelander. Not Sage. Something older. It showed her a room again. 2 boys. Billy. Tommy. This time they weren't laughing. They were reaching toward her. Crying, mouths forming one word. Mom. Wanda's breath caught. Her hold on Homelander flickered for half a heartbeat. Homelander's arm twitched. Wanda forced herself to look away from the vision. She gritted her teeth. "No," she whispered. The whisper pushed harder. It offered her a simple trade. Open the door. Take them. Fix the pain. Wanda's eyes stung. Her whole body wanted to say yes. Not because she was evil. Because she was a mother who had lost everything. Wanda squeezed her eyes shut for 1 second, then opened them again. She focused on something real. The smell of the studio, the cold air on her skin, the weight of her boots on the floor. She remembered Starlight's hand on her arm. Promise. Wanda breathed in, shaky. "I'm not doing that again," she said, voice breaking just slightly. Then she did something harder than breaking a building. She let the pain exist without trying to erase it. The vision cracked like glass and vanished. The whisper pulled back, angry. Wanda tightened her hold on Homelander again. His eyes burned red in fury, but now there was something else there too. Fear. Because he felt what almost happened. He felt that something else wanted her to open the world, and he didn't like sharing. Wanda lifted her other hand and traced a short line in the air, right in front of Homelander's face. The cameras in the room flickered, their screens filled with one sentence in bold letters, as if the world itself was printing it. I'm not your product. Sage's eyes narrowed. Even without sound, she could tell the message was not for her. It was for everyone watching later. Wanda released the silence. Sound crashed back. Homelander dropped to the floor, free, stepping back like he'd touched fire. The crew gasped. Someone sobbed. Homelander snapped his head toward Sage. "Get them out!" he barked. The crew ran. Sage stayed. Homelander turned back to Wanda, shaking with rage. "You can't do that to me!" he hissed. Wanda's voice was steady now. "I just did," she said. Homelander's eyes narrowed. "Why won't you kill me?" he spat. "You could." Wanda looked at him for a long moment. Then she answered honestly. "Because you want me to," she said. "You want me to become the monster you already are. So you can point and say, 'See? I told you.'" Homelander's mouth tightened. "That's not." "It is," Wanda cut in, calm and sharp. "And I won't give you that." Sage finally spoke, voice flat. "Then what do you give him?" Wanda turned her head slightly, acknowledging Sage for the first time. "I give him limits," Wanda said. Homelander laughed, harsh. "You can't limit me." Wanda's gaze returned to him. "Watch." She lifted both hands. The glass wall behind Homelander did not shatter. It peeled, like a sticker being pulled from a window. The studio's outer wall became transparent, showing the world below. The city lights, the streets, people walking, unaware. Homelander froze, confused. Wanda spoke clearly, for him and for Sage. "You live on a stage," she said, "so I'm changing the stage." All over the city, screens flickered, billboards on TVs, phones. For 1 minute, Vought did not control them. The screens showed a hidden lab inside Vought Tower. Cages, needles, people crying, people begging. Workers moving like they didn't see the suffering anymore. It wasn't every secret. Wasn't the full truth. But it was enough. It was real enough. Sage's eyes widened by a fraction. "How did you?" "I asked," Wanda said simply. She didn't say she'd brushed minds. She didn't say she'd followed fear down corridors until it led her to the ugliest rooms. She didn't brag. She just made sure the world saw what it needed to see. Homelander's face twisted as he looked down at the city. He could almost hear it. The doubt spreading. The love turning into questions. He snarled and lunged toward Wanda, fast. Wanda didn't move. She lifted a hand and stopped him mid-step again. Homelander strained, shaking, fury pouring out of him. Wanda leaned closer, voice low. "You are not a god," she said. "You're a bully with a camera." Homelander's eyes burned. "I'll kill them," he promised. "All of them." Wanda's voice didn't rise. "If you do," she said, "I will stop you every time. And each time, more people will see the real you." Homelander shook harder, rage and fear mixing into something ugly. Wanda released him. Homelander stumbled back, breathing hard. Sage stared at Wanda, calculating. She didn't look panicked. She looked like she'd found a new equation. Wanda turned away from both of them. As she walked toward the edge of the rooftop, the cameras aimed at her again. They tried to frame her, tried to turn her into a product shot. Wanda didn't destroy them. She simply made their screens fill with that same sentence again. "I am not your product." Then she stepped off the roof. She didn't fall. The air caught her like a gentle hand. She drifted down into the night, vanishing between buildings. Behind her, Homelander screamed at the sky, and for once, there were no cheers to answer him. The next day, the world argued harder than ever. Vought said the lab footage was fake. Firecracker said it was witch lies. Newman held a press conference about proper oversight and public safety, smiling like she cared. But something had shifted. People had seen a crack in the system, and once you see it, you can't fully unsee it. In the safe house, Butcher watched the news with a jaw like stone. Huey looked at the screen, then at Wanda, then back at the screen. You just hijacked every screen in the city," he whispered. Wanda's voice was tired. "For 1 minute." Frenchie shook his head slowly. "Mon Dieu." MM exhaled like he'd been holding air for weeks. "That helps," he admitted. "It doesn't fix it. But it helps." Butcher turned sharply toward Wanda. "You could have ended him," he said. "Instead, you played PR." Wanda's eyes flashed. "I played truth," she snapped. "Something your world forgot." Butcher's mouth tightened. "Truth. Don't kill him." "No," Wanda said. "But it weakens him. It limits what he can do without losing the crowd." Butcher stared at her, anger fighting with logic. Finally, he muttered, "Still not enough." Wanda looked at him, and her voice softened just a little. "It will never be enough for you," she said. Butcher flinched like she'd hit something true. Starlight stepped closer to Wanda, quiet. "You kept your promise," she said. Wanda's throat tightened. "I almost didn't." Starlight nodded. "But you did." Huey held up one of the printer pages like it was a flag. "Also," he said, trying to lighten the mood, "the printer is very proud of you." Kimiko made a small sound that was definitely a laugh this time. Wanda looked at the page. "I am not your product." She stared at it for a long moment. Then she set it down gently, like it mattered. Wanda took a slow breath. "I can't fix your world," she said. Butcher scoffed. "Sure you can." Wanda shook her head. "Not without breaking it," she said. "And too many people would get crushed in the pieces." MM nodded slowly, understanding. Wanda continued, voice steady. "But I can do something else." Huey swallowed. "What?" Wanda looked up at the ceiling, feeling the seam in the world like a scar. "I can hold the line," she said. "I can keep the door shut. I can stop him when he crosses it. And I can stop the next thing that tries to come through." Butcher's eyes narrowed. "So you're staying?" Wanda didn't answer yes or no. She said, "For now." It wasn't a promise. It was a choice she could keep making, day by day. And that mattered more. Night came again, quieter than before. Wanda sat alone in a small room that used to be an office upstairs. The desk was cheap. The chair squeaked. The only light came from a lamp with a cracked shade. On the desk sat a plain ceramic cup with a chip on the rim. Wanda turned it in her hands. She thought about Westview. She thought about the rally. She thought about the whisper that offered her the thing she wanted most in the world. She did not pretend she was stronger than that offer. She only admitted the truth. It would always tempt her. A soft buzz came from a phone beside the cup. A message. Wanda stared at it for a second before picking it up. It was from Huey. "Are you okay?" Wanda didn't know how to answer. Okay felt like a word for people who hadn't torn holes in reality. She set the phone down without replying. Outside, far away, a siren wailed. Then another. The city kept moving. People kept getting hurt. People kept doing harm. People kept trying to survive. The world didn't pause for anyone's grief. Wanda looked at the chipped cup again. The easy thing would be to fix it with magic. It would take less than a second. But Wanda didn't. She stood, walked to a small drawer, and found a tube of cheap glue someone had left behind. The label was half peeled off. The cap stuck. Wanda twisted it open with effort. She squeezed too hard at first, and glue spilled onto her fingers. She stared at the mess, then let out a tiny breath that was almost a laugh. She cleaned her fingers with a paper towel. Then she carefully dabbed glue into the chipped line on the cup. She pressed the piece into place. She held it there, steady, without using any red light at all. Her hands shook slightly. Not from weakness. From choosing to be human when being a god would be easier. When the peace held, Wanda set the cup down and sat again. She closed her eyes and reached out with her senses. The red wound in the sky was still there, but it was smaller than it had been, like a stitched cut that could heal if you kept pressure on it long enough. Wanda opened her eyes. She picked up the phone and typed a reply. Slow. I'm here. She sent it. Then she sat in the quiet, listening to the city breathe and to the seam in the world staying closed, at least for tonight.